All right, we're back with Casey and this little 4-year-old mare that we've been restarting, and we've had several days off from weather and rain. It doesn't look like it now, but this thing was standing in water a couple days ago, but luckily it kind of absorbed up and we got back to work. But so we're gonna just check her out and just see where she's at, see if she's regressed any, to see if we need to go back and do some other stuff, and that happens. I'm not ever worried about it though, because a lot of this stuff will stay with them, but some horses will regress pretty bad, some don't. You just got to go and work with them where they are that day and what that horse needs from you that day. And so we're going to get started. I'm just going to check her out with my flag again and just kind of see where we are, and let her tell me what we need to do. So I'm just going to ask her to go by, see if she remembers that. She don't remember it, so I'm going to ask her to go. I don't want to have to pull them around or anything like that. I'm going to shake the flag just to. And if you can remember the first video, she was pretty worried about this flag moving around, and she's not too bad today. That's good. So I'm going to reach up here and pet on her and touch her with it. I want her to be okay with it touching her and going. A lot of horses just want to stop and freeze up when they're worried about something. I like how she's keeping that arc in her body. She's stepping that inside leg up and around and keeping an arc to her body and keeping an arc in her neck. I'm not having to pull on her. So I'm going to switch sides right here, and I'm going to reach back here, ask her to go this way. If you notice, she's a little bit tight right there. She kind of wanted to pick her head up and wanted to kind of scatter somewhere, but now she's kind of settled back in. That's good. If I drop my hand right here, then I just want her hip to step away and her stop. Gives me a chance to start her again to see if she'll go. I had to do a little bit, but not much. And every time I do this, it'll be a little less and a little less. If you know, over here, she doesn't hold that arc quite as good, so when I bump, I'm bumping and waiting for that inside back leg to come up off the ground. Ask her to keep that. There. Now she's doing it. That's good. She's a little worried about that coming up off her hip butt, so I'm not gonna address it and make her scared of it. I'm just gonna not make any issue of it. I'm just gonna do this and rub her a little bit, and then I'll pull it back up. Rub her a little bit, pull it back up. And I'm gonna ask her right here and see if she'll go the other way. Very good. Oh, see, she didn't finish, so I had to kind of ask her to go. Something coming off the ground bothers her a little bit. You know, these are all little things, just trying different stuff. You know, I'm not trying to scare her, but if it bothers her, I'm not gonna make an issue of it, but I'm gonna do it some. I don't want it to worry her. See, when she goes to pull on me, I just bump back. I'm telling her, hey, you don't need to do that. If you get worried, I want you to not stiffen up and take off with me. But that's just something they have to learn. You know, that's not going to be in there. If they're worried, their inherent nature is to get somewhere. They're a fight or flight type animal, so. And we worked on that left side, right side, quite a bit more. Because that's where she was having issues. She got a little bit loose there. We've been getting her started on some microbes and the probiotics we use, and from Wind River Microbes, and sometimes it'll get them a little bit loose when it starts doing that. She'll get used to it. That, and we just wormed her as well, so. Yeah, so I'm gonna ask her to go. See how she just keeps that arc so much better over here? So I'm gonna ask her to step up right here. I don't want her to just stop her front end. I want her to step on around. And then as I pull, I'm just gonna stop a second, and then I'm gonna ask her to go this way. So the last 2 times we worked her, we had a pretty serious issue with changing eyes with objects, and it wasn't necessarily a big deal with me on her back. But with this flag, if it was go to the other side, boy, or that tarp, we're gonna address it in a little bit too, she'd get pretty worried about it. See, she's not quite too bad today, and I will tell you, you do that, don't stay there long. Just get them exposed and get out. I'm gonna come from here again. This bothered her a while ago. And I'm not hitting her, I'm just shaking it around here. It might touch her every once in a while. When I see her start bracing up and kind of taking off is when I bump. And I always try to be in timing, and I miss it sometimes with that back inside leg. Stop her right here. Go this way. See, she wants to just stick her head up and freeze up a minute, and I'm not looking for perfection today, but this is the 3rd day. She's probably regressed a little bit, but I'm just going to get her like I had her, to where there's a little bit more quality to that, and she's a little softer about it. So I'll stop a second, and then I'll step to her. Very good. Still a little bit stiff, still a little bit abrupt about it, but a lot better. There, that was way better. Still a little stiff, but I'm not gonna pick on that. She'll get better as time goes on. See, she started to pick her head up and started getting faster, so I bumped her going, hey, you don't have to do that. I'm not hurting you, I'm not doing anything. She's feely though, it's expected of her, but she can learn to accept this. There. And I don't sit here and just kill one side, you know. I'll let them go around a little bit, do one side and go the other. I don't wait till that side gets totally perfect or she stopped totally reacting to it, because if you do that, you're going to get them numb and pretty unbalanced. And I'm looking for my horses to be pretty even left and right. She's still a little worried about it, and that's fine. I mean, that's just her nature. The way she's bred, she's a little bit feely, a little bit hot. But me personally, I like that. All this that I'm doing right here, stepping her hip over, moving her front end across, and keeping her bent, it's the same thing I'm going to do once I start really trying to train on her to work a cow. Turn around. I'm gonna work her in this arc like this on her back. Then I'm gonna want her to step back to draw back on, oh, like that right there. That was pretty. To draw back on a cow, and whenever she goes to turn around, I'm always gonna want her to sit back on her hocks a little bit, whether it's a rein and spin or working a cow. They've got to work off their rear end, and this all prepares that. It'll all relate to what I'm gonna do on her back. Just like that. That was really nice. I think I'll stop right there. She's still a little bit worried about it, but I'm dang sure happy with it. She didn't regress a whole lot. I'll let her just kind of sniff of it for a second. I don't ever do this right off the bat. If she's all right with it, and I might rub her on her head and go down her neck, just like that. Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and saddle her and see where we're at with that, and sack her out with my rope a little bit more. I might rope her and let that rope drape around her back legs. And here again, it's something I learned from Tom Dorrance. I saw telling some guys one time, when you're coming up to a horse with a pad like this, you know, be easy, don't bang them with it, but just kind of be in rhythm. Just kind of flop it up there, bump it on their side, and go back up, and go do it on the other side. This gets them prepared. When you put a saddle on and that stirrup comes over here, and it might bump them a little bit, and it's going to get her to where she's not worried about it. So I'm going to do this right here and just basically let this pad pet her. There we go. Good. Again, when I put my saddles on, I grab them by the cantle on the opposite side, and then grab the front skirt closest to me, whether I'm putting it on the left or right, and then I just set it up there. You can tell right there she kind of worried about that for a second, but that's all right. I'm a stickler about putting these horses in the right spot, and we've got a video that talks about that, and where the saddle's designed to sit, and how them bars are supposed to be, and where they're supposed to sit on their back. So many people I see saddling horses, they'll throw their saddle up there, and the first thing they do is grab that thing and pull it right up here. And if you're going to do that, that's fine, but make sure you slide it back and lay that hair down where it's supposed to go. It does not go up here. Their scapulas right there. When she puts her foot down, it pushes out right there. So most horses have a little pocket. Not some young ones don't, but they've got a little pocket right behind their wither, or I should say right behind their scapula, and right around in here. And that's where that saddle's supposed to sit. That's where those front bar pads are designed to sit. I always do this on a horse that I'm starting when I first saddle them, just to make sure that if things going to get kind of wild, I've got a hold of her and can kind of direct her. And I also let her do that to kind of let that cinch kind of go ahead and loosen up like it needs to. I'm gonna go ahead and let her go, and then I like to rope my saddle and let this rope hang down behind their legs there. For that reason. That stuff worries them. I want to expose them as much as I can. So we're going to go this way. See if I can rope her that saddle. There it goes. See, she don't like that. Now, I'm not pulling it tight. I'm just letting it touch her on her back legs. That's all I'm doing. And making sure that she doesn't kick through it. She don't like it, but that's all right. She's gonna have to get used to it. And with it hanging loose, it ain't hurting her. It's just touching her on the back leg, but she don't like that. All this does is get her prepared for one day I'm roping on her. For some reason, the calf runs behind her and kind of rim fires her a little bit. She doesn't wig out and buck me off. So now she's kind of eased up. I'm gonna kind of pull that up a little bit. I'm not pulling on it. I'm just taking the slack out. You can tell I barely even have a hold of this thing. The last thing I want to do is suck it down and scare her and her get wigged out about it, and then that's in her for the rest of her life. This is a lot of stuff that she just has to work through. And I don't care if, you know, when they're running around here like that, if they're a little bit worried and they're kicking out and kicking at it, that's just their way of dealing with it. Some people don't want that to happen, but you candy coat stuff long enough with them, it's gonna come out. And I'd rather it come out right here while we've got some control and we can work her through some stuff and it not all of a sudden become an issue when I'm on her back. So she just let me stand there and wiggle that rope everywhere around her, and that's pretty dang good. So I'm gonna ask her to go the other direction and she's still got this little deal on her where she don't want you on her right side at all. So I'm gonna push her around here. I don't want her turning her butt to me just yet, because she wants to get away from me. Oh, there. I just suggested, and then when she started, I just took the pressure off and then let her go. I'm gonna let some slack go in there so she can put that other leg in there. There we go. Oh, stick it back out. There we go. We get them both picked up now. I just want her to wear that. As you can tell, she don't like this side. So I'm gonna pick it up, take some slack out. Now it's not gonna bother her a while ago, but so now she's all right with that. I'm gonna take this rope and kind of flip it up here. See if I can catch that saddle like that. Catch that horn. There we go, good. So what I did right there is I just picked that rope up and blocked her nose from being able to turn away from me all the way through and put me in her left eye. I want her to stay over on this side if I can get her to. There we go. There. If I can get her to stay right there, that'd be great. I don't necessarily want them to have to turn and look at me and walk towards me and all that stuff. See, she wants to get away, and I'm just gonna, there, I'm just telling her, look, you're all right, you're all right. See if she'll let me work this rope off like she did a while ago. You're all right. Yeah. So while she's standing there, I'm just going to see if I can kind of flip a loop over there and see if she'll just not have much reaction to it. She didn't really care. She walked off, but she didn't bolt. Dirt's kind of sticky still. Good. She's trying to hook up and find me. She's also looking for a way to go too if she needs to. You know, and some of her jumping around and doing all that, so I'm sure being fresh too. It's a little cool here today and not being worked in a while, and those are just all things you got to work through. Like I said, a lot of times horses aren't going to be the same every day. They're just like people. I mean, some horses can be, but they're like people. They can have good days and bad days, and you just have to work with that. They'll tell you what they need. A lot of people don't listen. I think I used to be one of those people. I had an agenda what I wanted to get done, and would get kind of upset when I wouldn't get stuff done, and not get mad, but just get disappointed and not realizing that, hey, that horse wasn't ready for that yet, you know. So got to be sure and take all that into account when you're working with horses, because they're a living being just like we are, and not every day is going to be perfect. I'm gonna get the tarp, play with it a little bit, just see where she's at. She is not a fan of it so far. She'll get there. That's a change though. Before, she wouldn't even put her nose on it. She'd run from it. I'm just gonna bump it. Much better. This has kind of stayed in her. She's wanting to get away from it a little bit, but first time I introduced it to her, actually the first couple of times, man, she was dang sure wanting to get somewhere and had no desire for it to be around her. We'll get through her to her though. I mean, like I said, she'll figure out it's not going to hurt her. Just like the flag, she didn't have any desire to be around it either whenever I first introduced her to it. Right there, you got to be careful and not get in their striking area. If you notice though, she's kind of keeping that arc. I'm just going to slow down here a minute and I'm just going to try to rubber with it. Make her understand this is not a big deal. See, that went over that other side there, and that's not kosher with her yet. If you do that, you gotta get in and get out. We'll eventually get her to where she can handle that. I couldn't do that before. I couldn't go up here and let it go over that other side at all because she was scared to death of it. She's better. Just more things you can do with these horses. And I know this is probably taking quite a while, but right here, just be a little careful. Yep, she's tight. Good. Eventually, I keep doing this, then I'll get it to where I can hang it off hang it on all across my horn. I want her to be okay with it moving too, just like that. That's really good. In one of these videos, next day or two, I'll probably have her go across the tarp as well. That'll be just something else for her to get used to. There we go. Good girl. Good girl. Notice she cocked that leg over there, so I'm gonna ask her to go by. Step around. There we go. So now I'm gonna kind of test her a little bit. See what happens when it goes to the other side from here, because this is where she has an issue. We just keep after this, and this stuff will just become second nature to her, and she won't even know it's even there. But it might take a while. It's all right. We're not in any hurry. She stayed there a minute. I probably missed my opportunity to kind of do something different, but it's all right. I will address that too, is that, man, we're all learning. We're all continually learning. That's good right there. Nobody ever knows enough, and I make mistakes still, and the only difference is I got enough experience now that I catch them. I know when I've made a mistake, and I normally call myself out when I do it. So